Learners, welcome to our ninth lesson in integrated science. I hope you are doing well, and I hope you are watching the videos and studying the PDF notes. Today, we are continuing our lesson in diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion and osmosis. And before we run through the specific objectives, it is prudent that we quickly remind ourselves of what we learned in our previous lesson. In our previous lesson, we learned about how to demonstrate osmosis in a living tissue. And we performed experiments using fresh tuber of potato and another tuber that was cooked. The cooked one served as a control experiment. It lacked semi-permeability. And at the end of the lesson, we discovered that the fresh tuber of potato was able to allow water to move across its wall into the hole in it, which contains concentrated sugar solution. But the cooked tuber of potato did not allow water to move from the trough into the cavity containing the strong sugar solution. Okay. In today's lesson, under specific objectives, we want to identify examples of osmosis in plants and animals. So that's what I'm expecting from you. 2. Tabulate differences between osmosis and diffusion. And 3. Identify similarities between osmosis and diffusion. We're going to take each objective one after the other. My prayer is by the end of this lesson, you learn the best. You will get the best information. So, under examples of osmosis in plants and animals, we are picking plants first. Is there any evidence of water movements by plants and plants? Yes, if there is, then we'll say osmosis is taking place. So 1, the absorption of water from the soil through the roots is one evidence of osmosis. And why is it so? Water may exist so much in the soil, and in the plants or in the roots, we have less water. So water will now move from a region where it is so much into a region where it is less, or from a region of lower solute concentration in the soil to a higher solute concentration in the root. 2, as water gets into the plant consists of cells, and the cells are lined up to the leaves. We need water, or plants need water to manufacture its own food. So how does the water get to the leaves from the roots? So 2, we are saying the movement of water from one living cell to the other within a plant is by osmosis. So let's take note of that as well. So these are the two major examples of osmosis in plants. Now let us finalize this with examples of osmosis in animals. The first one says the movement of water into the cytoplasm in unicellular organisms such as paramecium and amoeba. Yes, these organisms are very microscopic, they are very small, and their body, they are made up of one cell, and their body is thin. They only take in water through osmosis. So if they need water, they have what we call contractile vacuum in their body, which allows the water to move from the outside where it is so much into the body of the paramecium or the amoeba. So that is it. And the movement does not only happen into the cell, but it can happen outside. Outside, when it happens that the water content in the organism is so much than its environment, so that by osmosis, this water will now move out of the body. Also, this explains how osmosis takes place in unicellular organisms. Then the final one is usually in mammals, as you, the humans, we excrete salt, acid, water from the body, and it is done by the kidneys. But remember, not all the water is excreted by the kidney as urine. Some are reabsorbed into the blood for our use, and it is done in the kidney tubules or tiny tubes in the kidney. So the reabsorption of water in the kidneys or tubules of mammals is by osmosis. So again, we identify two examples of osmosis in animals, in addition to two examples of osmosis in plants. My dear learners, we will now move on to the differences between osmosis and diffusion. Osmosis and diffusion. We identify three major differences. So one, under osmosis, we are saying it involves the movement of water from a region of lower solute concentration to a higher solute concentration region. Now, what we are saying here is that in a lower solute concentration, we mean the solids present there, which could be minerals, salt, sugar, whatever solids, is present in small amounts. That's lower solute concentration. And wherever it is present in lower amounts, if it is a solution, then it means water will be so much over there. So it's opposite. So lower solute concentration means much water. And then higher solute concentration means less water. So it involves the movement of water from a region of lower solute concentration to a region of higher solute concentration. I think the mistake is the region didn't appear in the second part. Then under diffusion, we are saying it involves the movement of solid particles from a region of higher concentration where the solid particles is so much to a region of lower concentration. So let's get a difference. 2, there is a semi-permeable membrane in osmosis. So it requires the presence of semi-permeable membrane. Diffusion, there is no semi-permeable membrane, so it does not require a semi-permeable membrane. Then under osmosis, we are saying it occurs only in liquid medium. Yes, osmosis occurs in only liquid medium, and diffusion occurs both in liquid and gas medium. So that is all under differences. Then finally, we are looking at similarities between osmosis and diffusion. Similarities between osmosis and diffusion. Before we go through, can you identify some similarities? Looking at the definition of osmosis and diffusion, what are some of the similarities? Hope your list will include 1. Both processes involve movement of molecules. Yes, there's a movement of molecules. And osmosis, there's movement of water molecules, and diffusion, there's movement of solid molecules. So in all, there's movement of molecules. 2. In both processes, there is the need for concentration gradients. Remember, we look at factors that affect the rate of osmosis and that of diffusion. In both cases, we identify the term concentration gradient. Hope you remember. We said the meaning of concentration gradient is the difference between concentrations of any two regions. The difference between concentrations of any two regions. That's the meaning of concentration gradient. So we are saying that there should be differences in concentration for a movement to take place under both osmosis and diffusion. So these are the similarities. By way of summary, my dear learners, we touched on examples of osmosis in plants and animals. Then we move on to look at the differences between osmosis and diffusion. Difference between osmosis and diffusion. And finally, we touch on the common features or similarities between osmosis and diffusion. For our advanced learning, I will encourage you to read on general applications of osmosis and diffusion in our daily lives. What are some of the daily life activities that involve the application of osmosis and diffusion? Yes, there are. Then there is an important question that we shall look at in our last lesson under this topic, and it describes why do plants wilt? Wilt means becomes weak, dry, and fall when so much fertilizer is applied to the plant. Why do plants or a plant wilt becomes weak and slender when so much fertilizer is applied? This question appeared in the 2019 BC. So we shall study that question as we bring the topic to an end next week. Congratulations for your patience with me, and I entreat you to keep on watching the previous videos, as this will help you, still continue with the syllabus even as we are in a lockdown. Till we meet again, I entreat you to stay safe. Bye-bye.